And Dan, you're going to remind everybody that they need to say that they're calling in remotely and state their name for a roll call.
Yes. Hello? Can you guys hear us?
A lot of people are muted.
This is Dave. Can you hear me?
Yes, we haven't started the meeting yet.
Oh, okay, okay, good. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm just here. My name's Jessica. I'm just here to observe for a class. I go to Western Michigan University. So if anybody's wondering who I am, that is the case.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Mallory, is everybody in? Okay. Good evening, everyone. We will begin our Board of Appeals meeting for the City of Holland. I'm the chair, Dan Sorek. Board members are regular citizens of Holland who have volunteered and have been appointed by City Council to consider applications to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Housing Board of Appeals, the Construction Board of Appeals, and for accommodations for persons with disabilities. This board must interpret each application as it relates to city ordinances. This board is not empowered to rezone or to take any action that could be considered rezoning. The agenda is in the order that the applications were received by the city. The presence of 4 board members is required for a quorum, and it takes 4 concurring votes to approve an application. When your application is called, we ask that you turn off your mute and state your name and address and where you're calling from. We will hear the applicant first and then anyone supporting the application, followed by anyone opposing it. After the public hearing is closed, there will be no other opportunity for further public comment related to the application. Decisions of the board are final and are effective on the day of such decision. However, applicants may appeal decisions to the circuit court in accordance with state law. You do not need to stay to listen to our deliberations and for our decision, and you can call Community and Neighborhood Services tomorrow morning after 8:30 to learn the results. This meeting is being recorded and being streamed. So Mallory, if you would, could you please take a roll call vote, or a roll call, not vote, but a roll call for attendance for our board, please.
All right, Bedard.
John, you're muted.
I'm here. I'm here. Thank you.
Van Antwerp.
I'm Fred Van Antwerp. I'm here via teleconference in Holland, Michigan.
Baisaki.
I'm here too. I'm on teleconference in Holland, Michigan.
Perfect. Barr.
Here in Holland, teleconference.
Perfect. Fusak.
President, teleconference here in Holland.
Perfect. Sorek.
And I'm also teleconferencing in from my home in Holland, Michigan.
Perfect. And Trutherwe. Thank you.
Present and teleconferencing from Holland, Michigan.
Okay. All right. Mallory, thank you for that. And if you could, let's go ahead with our first item on the agenda. If you could read that first item, please.
Perfect. Yes. So the first item is 1172 Beach Drive, application number 21.05Z. David Gillespie is requesting a special exception to construct an addition to his home at 1172 Beach Drive. The addition would be set back 5 feet 9 inches from the west property line along the existing building line, where a setback of 20 feet is required. The Board of Appeals can approve this request if certain conditions are met. 39-214C and 39-405C.
All right. Thank you very much. And do we have somebody representing the applicant here with us?
I am
Yes,
William,
we've got-
the residential builder of Midfield.
Well, hey, well, Dave Gillespie, Dave and Deborah Gillespie here as well, the homeowners.
Okay. So we have the homeowners and we have a representative of the builder also representing the homeowners here. Who would like to go first to explain the application?
I can. So we have in our home on 1172 Beach, we have, it's a 3-bedroom. One of the bedrooms and the bathroom joining it are very small. When you factor in closet space, that bedroom is about 9.5 by 9.5, and the bathroom is very small, about I think 6 by 7. We have looked at extending the existing. I don't know if you guys have a plan or a view in front of you, or we could look at that if you want. But we're looking at extending the existing property line on the Elm Drive side by, here we go. Thank you. Thanks, Tricia, appreciate it. So we're looking at, this is the kind of the southwest corner of the house, and we're extending the existing property line out about 11 feet, and then we're connecting that back with a slight extension, and basically taking what's as you can see in the picture, is the kind of entry area, the deck area, and just kind of squaring that off. It's not a lot of space, but it actually adds a lot of functionality. We have a couple of views as we walk through this. If we want to take a look at, here's where it sits on the property, and there's a full survey, a full-size survey later on. So what this does is it kind of extends the current view of the house out about this approximately 8 feet, and you can show here what's kind of the new part of the house as compared to the picture that was shown before. If we look at the next slide, it's or next view, it's a view from the side. So instead of having the porch right about there, it's now kind of a continuous view or continuous wall space. And maybe Tricia, if we go down to, is that Tricia that's moving it? No. Oh, Tricia. Okay. If we go down maybe a couple slides, the main reason is to take, if you go down one more, there we go. The main reason is to take these small bathrooms. It reads 11 feet by 9.8, but there's a closet that consumes that space. So it's really only about 9.5 by 9.5 and a small bath. What that does is gives us really, if you want to go to the next slide, it gives us a real viable bedroom size and in a full-size bathroom. We've owned this house since 2015. We're moving there full-time this year, and we've owned a place in Holland. We had a smaller house there as well from 2017. So for us, this becomes viable for having our 2 sons. We have 2 granddaughters, and our youngest son and his wife don't have children yet, but this makes this a viable bedroom for guests.
And we're retiring.
And we're retiring at the towards the end of this year, which is great. I want to retire in Holland, and it seemed like this was a good way to not add a lot of space, but add a lot of usability and kind of stay within the footprint of the house essentially. So hopefully that provides a good overview of what we are proposing to do. And if there's any questions, I don't know if you have any questions now. I think that's kind of the overview that I think gets us kicked off.
Thank you very much for reviewing that with us. Are there any questions from our board members?
A question about the second floor. Both the first and the second floor addition, they'll both be along and within the existing side setback of the existing building?
Yes.
Both of them will be. Okay.
Well, the foundation line, they'll be on the foundation line of the existing foundation line. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And the use that you're putting this additional space to is conforming to the zone code that you're within.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The way that this encroachment is, the character of this encroachment, it's compatible with the existing neighborhood.
Yes, I think it's, we'll harmonize this with kind of the look and feel of the rest of the house, same color, same trim. Yes, so it'll be compatible with the neighborhood and with the rest of the house.
And will this be, do you know yet whether this is fully complying with the building code of the city?
I would defer to Will Manis on that, and clearly that is we would adhere to all those building codes, but I really defer to Will on this.
Yes, yes, it does.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any further questions.
Anybody else from our board have any questions? I'm not seeing any. Okay, so at this time, thank you again very much for explaining your application for us. And for the completeness of your application with all the documents that you supplied. It really did help us understand what your intention was.
Good.
So at this time, I would like
for saying that.
I
Thank
know
you for saying
there's a lot of
that.
work that goes into that, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hire them.
Hey, I'm retiring, Will. We could work this out.
At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing and ask if anybody would like to speak in support of this application. To go ahead. I'm not seeing anybody, hearing anybody, so I'm going to ask now if there's anybody who wishes to speak in opposition. Not hearing or seeing anybody wishing, no hands, virtual hands raised. Okay, so I will move forward with one last question. We did not receive any communications regarding this from neighbors, is that correct?
That's correct. We did not receive any correspondence about this application.
Okay, thank you. And so therefore I will close this public hearing. And at this point in time, I'd be looking for a motion.
All right, well, I would move that we approve the request for a special exception to construct an addition to the home at 1172 Beach Drive.
Support.
We have a motion and support. Okay, if we could, Fred, would you mind taking us through the findings of fact?
Okay, first of all, the first and second floor addition will be along or within the existing side setback line of the existing building itself. The use of the building does conform to this zone district. The encroachment, the character of the encroachment within it is compatible with the existing neighborhood and in character with the existing neighborhood. The two-story addition along the west side of the building will not be detrimental to the adjoining property or the neighborhood. And I would like to condition this this approval with saying that construction permits have to be obtained prior to beginning the construction project. That's part of the motion to approve.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Fred. Appreciate that. Any other questions from our board regarding the motion before us? Okay, not seeing any, then I will ask for a vote, please.
So the motion is to approve Van Antwerp,
Yes.
Bedard,
Yes.
Isaki,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Buzak,
Yes.
and Sorick.
Yes,
Motion to approve passes.
thank you very much. Good luck with your project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Should we sign out now? Is that the?
You may, if you may, if you wish to stick around for the rest of the meeting, you may, or you-
I think we'll sign out. We can't wait to get there full time.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
We're
Yep.
really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, Mallory, if you could read our next item on the agenda, please.
So the next application is for 1284 Innisbrook Court, application number 21.06Z. Paul and Lori Steers are requesting a special exception to conduct a type 2 home business swimming lessons at their home located at 1284 Innisbrook Court. They propose to have an independent contractor teaching lessons in the evenings for 2 consecutive weeks during the month of June. The board can approve this request if certain conditions are met. 39-192.
Okay, thank you. And do we have somebody here representing the applicant? If you would, please state your name, address, and where you're calling in from.
Hi, we're Paul and Lori Steers. We're calling in from Holland. We are the owners. We're 1284 Innisbrook Court.
Okay, thank you. If you could just take us through your application.
Sure, I'd love to. This is our proposed Steers swim school schedule for 2021. And this is assuming, of course, that schools are not delayed due to COVID and that they get out in time in June. Paul and I are the sole owners of Steers Swim School. We've registered that name under Ottawa County. We would have one independent contractor or one swim instructor, which would be Julianne Camps. We are proposing June 14 through June 18, 2021 from 4 to 7 p.m. and June 21 through 25, 2021 from 4 to 7 p.m. And so the schedule would kind of look like this. We would have 10 days of swimming lessons. So from 4 to 4:30 would be a lesson, and then there would be a break so that there could be time in between for the cars to pass. And then there would be 4:45 to 5:15 swim lesson. And then there would be another break for the cars to pass. 5:30 to 6 o'clock swim lesson, another break, and then 6:15 to 6:45. The reason we chose that time in the evening was that it wouldn't conflict with our garbage pickup, mail delivery, lawn care service, and most UPS type deliveries. Parents would park in the Steers driveway. We can get 9 cars in our driveway unless they have a sibling in a back-to-back lesson. And then they would park out in the street with 1 parking right in front of our mailbox. Paul and I would be on site every day to assist with that parking. The class size would not to exceed 6 kids in a class. Most classes have 4 to 5 kids at most.
Yep. So this past October, we sent this proposal out to all of our nearby neighbors to get together to have a meeting to talk about it. And only one neighbor, that was Doug and Julie Bazan, our next door neighbor, they came to the meeting. And so we talked about it. And then after that meeting, another neighbor that lives in the cul-de-sac, Carol Fumanen, she came over and said that she read through the proposal and that she was fine with the proposal. This is what we've just kind of laid out. Her only concern was that her mailbox didn't get blocked in so that she could get her mail. And we've solved that by having the swim lessons later in the day and in the evening, and with everybody's parking in our driveway too. So there wouldn't be any problem with people not getting their mail. And so anyway, when you compare our proposal of 10 days of swimming lessons to something that the city of Holland has is like for music lessons, people that give music lessons out of their homes, they can do that every day of the year, year round, all day and all evening. We think that our proposal is very family friendly and neighborhood friendly when you compare that to like people giving music lessons out of their home. And so all the activity would take place in our backyard where our swimming pool is, and or people in our driveway. And Lori and I, we've both lived in Holland most of our lives, and we lived here at this house for 26 years. And we've been great neighbors, and we want to continue that tradition.
We feel that if this proposal passes, we encourage any board member to come and visit our school to see how well it's run, how happy our students are, how the parents are courteous, how they're safe driving, and without disrupting a quiet residential neighborhood. So we look forward to providing this beneficial service.
Thank you very much. Any questions from our board? Fred, go ahead.
I have a question about your parking plan. Several of us on the board were here the last time that you made an application, and we see that you've really listened to all of the concerns that have been raised, or most of the concerns that have been raised about this plan that you have. And so I'm quite pleased with how you've listened and how you've tried to tailor make the swimming lessons fit into what previously were the neighbors' concerns. And so many of the concerns that were raised the last time and still are raised this time by some people are regard the traffic out in front of the house and the parking that's in the house. And so I think that the success of this, especially if we approve it tonight, the success of this will be pretty much determined by how active you are with regulating your parking out in front of the house. And so I think as far as one board member, namely me, I take that quite seriously, that you are planning to be there every day and you're going to actively get people parking on your parking space, and with one extra park, which is what you certainly have in front of your house as a right. So I just wanted to say that I think this is a great improvement over the last time, and I think your plan is quite good. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Any other questions or comments from our board?
So if a child is staying, would there be siblings staying through different lessons? And how would that be handled if someone's in the first lesson versus the second lesson for parking? Because once again, we really got to, I think some of the feedback was that was one of the big issues that were in past times that this has taken place.
Yeah, I think that we would try to carefully plan where those siblings are in the class. Everyone is so understanding. All the parents are flexible. And so if it's a sibling that's back to back, we would make sure that that parent knows you're going to be the first one in or the last one out. So we'd be very specific on exactly where they park.
Okay. So you would encourage them to stay during that time and not
correct
drop off and leave type of thing?
Right.
Once again, that would cause more traffic than you would want. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dave. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, Paul and Laura, my question for you is, you mentioned that you have a registered name for your business.
Yes.
Do you have the remainder of your paperwork signed for or approved from the state?
I went through Ottawa County. I have we have that. It's under Steer Swim School.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know if you had an LLC or what that is through.
Oh, okay. Yep. No, the name of the school is Steer Swim School.
Okay.
Any other questions from board members?
Yes, I have a question. So we started off the conversation about the name of the school, but I'm wondering, so does the name or the LLC, that whatever that entity is, do they pull the liability insurance for the operations? Is that under your name, or is that under the swim school's name, or is that the independent contractor who's pulling that liability insurance, or how's that working?
It would be under our name.
Under your name, your personal name. Okay.
Yep.
And then you said you were there every day working, handling the traffic. And then all the payments come to you guys and then distributed from there then?
Yeah.
Okay. And then does your contractor receive like a 1099? Are they part of the organization, or how does that work?
They would receive a 1099. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
I actually had a question. Just want to make sure that we're clear and that you, as the applicant, understand that the application is specifically for the dates and times listed I mean, these would be, you know, proposed conditions that they would be for essentially June 14 through 18, 2021, from 4 to 7 p.m. and June 25th or June 21st to 25th, 2021, from 4 to 7 p.m. Therefore, if this were to occur in 2022, a new application would have to come forward to the board. I just want to make sure that you're aware and that our board members are also aware of that as well. Just getting that out.
Yes,
Okay.
yep, we understand that. Yep.
Well, and you made a point earlier about schools that could be delayed, but we need to stick by these dates only. Any other dates changes would have to come back to the board. Would that be true?
Yes. Yeah, it would be, yeah, it'd likely be the, what we would be approving would be with these restrictions. Any other questions from our board?
Yeah, I thought maybe we'd run through the list that we have to go by. And maybe get those questions answered from the applicant.
So is that after we ask for a motion or?
Nope, you can go for it right now.
Okay, so is the home business clearly identical? And secondly, the principal residence use of the dwelling. So this is your home and this is where you're going to be operating a business. Is the home business operated solely by the persons residing in the dwelling?
Yes.
Yes. Will there be any exterior alterations to the residential character of the premise?
No.
No. Will the home business generate noise, vibration, smoke, dust, odor, heat, or glare, which is detectable beyond the property lines, other than the sound of a person's voice or recreational activity?
No.
The sound of a child's voice?
Yes. Well, that's the sound of a person's voice or recreational activity. So you're not going to be, I don't even know what a good example of that would be.
Well, there's not going to be any bullhorns or anything like that.
Okay, yeah, right. Will the home business generate any electrical interference with radio or television transmissions in the area that would exceed that which is normally produced by a dwelling unit in a residential zoning district?
No.
No. This is one of the easier ones. Does the business involve merchandise? Are you going to be selling anything?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Will authorizing this special exemption cause a substantial deterrent or impairment to the public health, safety, and welfare of the surrounding neighborhood?
No.
No. Will you have a sign? Will the business have a sign?
No.
No. Let's see, where am I at here? Will the home business owners have a housing inspection in accordance with section 14-4.32 of the city code and comply with its requirements?
If you want to inspect it, you can. Everything is outside.
Yes,
Will there only be one home business at this location?
Yes.
Yes.
Will the home business exceed 50% of the floor area of any one story of the dwelling and 50% of a detached accessory building?
No.
Will clients or customers be permitted on site between the hours of 9 p.m. and 7 a.m.?
No.
Will there be any deliveries to the business?
No.
Nothing that, okay. And will the home business be conducted in the side or rear yard and be enclosed by a fence?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Thank you, Dave. Anybody else? Any other questions? All right, thank you again for going through your application. At this point in time, what I'd like to do is open a public hearing and consider the public hearing opened. And if there's anyone who wishes to speak in support, I'm going to ask, please state your name, your location, where you're calling from. Please ask, or I'm going to ask that you please wait for me to acknowledge you or call you. And I thank you. I see one hand already raised, and I got, it looks like Lauren Decker. Go ahead. You're on mute, so make sure you turn that off real quick.
Hi, I'm Lauren Decker. I live on 1373 Innisbrook Court, and I'm representing my husband, Brandon Decker, and I. We've attended, our children have attended the Steer Swim School for a number of sessions, and we've always appreciated the professional environment and the attention to detail that the Steers have given the area. To us, it brings a value to our neighborhood because I have the ability to walk down with my children to have them attend swimming lessons. It's brought a lot of positive things to our family and to my children.
Thank you for your input. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, I see a W. Thomas. Go ahead.
Yes, William Thomas, and I live right next door, 1280 Innisbrook, and calling from Holland. So again, I've lived with this for several years. I have absolutely no problem with it. Our house is probably the closest that anybody's would be. We're just a few feet off of the drive where the cars would be parking. It's never been an issue. I spoke before. Lori and Paul are fantastic neighbors to have. They're courteous. They look out for what they're doing. And I have no doubt that they will do everything in their power to make this go as easy as possible. But I have no problem with them doing this.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. We appreciate that feedback. Anybody else who wishes to speak? I see an actual hand, not a virtual hand raised with Sue Brookhouse. Go ahead. Remember to turn off your mute.
Yep.
There you go.
I'm Sue Brookhouse. I live in Holland. I'm calling from Holland, and I know the Steers personally. I'm a neighbor as well, and I received a letter just to come into the virtual meeting, and I have absolutely no problem at all with the school. I know that they run a very professional environment. I know that their daughter, Julianne, who runs this, not runs the school, but she gives the lessons, is super professional. She's a middle school teacher. She's great with kids. She has an awesome record, and by word of mouth, people love her as a teacher. She's extremely safe. The Steers are extremely safe with all their property, their handling with children. Lori even gets in the pool a lot of the time to help out with swim school. They're extremely professional, extremely safe, and I have never heard a bad word of anybody that has ever taken swim lessons from Julianne or has been to the Steers Swim School. It's an extremely positive environment. I am a retired school teacher, and we are always looking for students to understand how dangerous water is. And we even give swimming lessons at Holland Public Schools so that kids can understand how dangerous water is and how they need to be, they need to understand how to swim so they can swim in Lake Michigan, because we are so close to Lake Michigan. So I see it only as an asset to the neighborhood and to our families that live in our community.
Thank you, Sue.
Sue has to give her address also.
Okay, I live at 1247 Hearthstone Court. Right, my cul-de-sac butts up against the Steers cul-de-sac.
So you would have been within the 300-foot notification range.
Correct. I received a letter.
Thank you. Anybody else who would be speaking in support of this application? I see a Max Steers. Go ahead.
Yeah, I live at 64 Linden Road. I am the brother of Julianne Camps and the son of Paul and Laura Steers. And I've recommended my boss's grandkids to my sister, and they have had nothing but good things to say about how professional she has been, what a great instructor, what a great job she's done, and they are going to recommend their kids to my sister as well, just because of what a professional my sister is as a swim instructor.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Anybody else? Okay. At this point in time, I'd like to ask if there's been anybody who would like to speak in opposition of this application, please. Okay, Doug, go ahead.
My name is Doug Bazine. I live at 1292 Innisbrook Court, the house on the other side of the Steers from Bill Thomas. And I would just like to start by saying we've never had problems with glare or electrical interference from the swim school, so we're all good there. I also would say that I would highly recommend Steers Swim School to anyone looking to learn how to swim. We have no problems with the Steers running a swim school in their home, especially if you walk in like the Deckers can from down the cul-de-sac, that's even better. Our concern is the amount of traffic and the number of cars coming down our cul-de-sac. It has nothing to do with the value of swim lessons or the Steers and the nice people that they are. So really the question from our perspective is how many cars is appropriate in a residential neighborhood for a swim school. And I know that music lessons have no limit, but swim schools do. So I think we have the right to put a limit on the number of cars. You know, this swim school was operated for 3 years without approval from the city. In those, especially the last year that this operated, there were over 40 cars a day in this neighborhood. We were literally invaded. It's an interesting feeling. I didn't know I'd be so upset by like my privacy or the sanctity of my home with all of these cars in the neighborhood. So one thing I do know is that 40 cars is too many in a given day. So what is the right number? I think that's a good question. You know, if we look at the ordinance, the first line of the home occupation ordinance is the intent of this is to protect residential areas from any significant impact associated with a home occupation. And I can tell you there has been a significant negative impact on the immediate neighbors in this neighborhood from the 3 years that the swim school was previously run. So I think that's really the issue. It's not the value of swim lessons or how good Julianne might be at giving them. The question is how many vehicles is appropriate. So if 42 is too many, what is the right number that you might consider? Well, the other requirements of a type 2 business under general requirements is that the Zoning Board of Appeals shall use the type 1 home business requirements as criteria when evaluating this. So what are the limits of a type 1 business? It's 10 vehicle trips a day, two business individuals at one time. So I don't know how those numbers came to. You probably don't either. But someone somewhere decided that 10 vehicle trips a day, 2 at a time, would not have a negative impact on a neighborhood, and that would what would be allowed with a type 1 business. So I suppose if the Steers were here proposing a swim school with 10 vehicle trips a day, 2 business individuals at a time, they would be giving private lessons in their swim school. And on what basis could I object to that? So maybe that's, if 40 is too many, maybe 10 is certainly allowed or possible. I don't know if 10 is too many or not for a swim school. I mean, the argument hasn't been made why there's potentially 24. I mean, if there's 4 sessions with 6 students per session, there could be 24 vehicle trips plus the independent contractor, which would count as well according to the ordinance. So you have potentially 25 vehicle trips per day. I don't know why it's 25. Why is it not 10? There's been no case made for why it needs to be 25. Maybe 10 is the right number, but that is what the ordinance would say. And so if that's individual lessons, if you want to make an exception from 2 vehicle trips at a time to say 3, that could be 3 classes of 3 or something like that. But I don't know that 10 is the right number. I mean, they could have 10 vehicle trips every day, as was suggested. So maybe in exchange for only having this 2 weeks out of the year, maybe 12 vehicle trips is an okay number. Their application says that most classes only have 4 kids. If there are 4 classes of 4 kids, that's 16 vehicle trips a day. That sounds like a lot of cars in 3 hours in my neighborhood, but maybe that's an okay number. If most classes only have 4 anyways, then maybe what the board should limit it to is 16 plus the independent contractor. So 17 vehicle trips, 1 on the street. It's for 1 year as a test case. That might be okay. I don't know. But 16 is a lot less than 24. And I think it would completely feel different in the neighborhood if it was 16 and not 24. What's the right number? I don't know that we know. I think in our opinion and of other neighbors, it's 24. It's a little hard to hear other people who don't live in this cul-de-sac talk about how great this is and how we should be for this. I mean, Mr. Thomas can do that. He lives here. But other neighbors, I mean, they don't, I mean, Sue Brookhouse doesn't live in this cul-de-sac. She doesn't live with this traffic. Even Lauren Decker lives at the other end of the cul-de-sac. The cars don't come past her house. We do think, agreeing, as was said earlier, previously no one parked in the driveway. The driveway was kept clear for the parents to weigh in. And so all the traffic was on the street. So completely flipping that and saying all the traffic will, or all the cars will be parked in the driveway is a huge improvement. There's no doubt about that. I might even go as far as to say, if you had four people in each class and the driveway holds 9 cars, you don't need any cars on the street because that would be sufficient space for the cars to maneuver around each other. I think those are our concerns and the way we've wrestled with this. Yeah, I mean, I think the only other thing, I would make 2 other points. One is Mr. Thomas does have a type 2 business as well. And it's interesting the conditions that were put on his business. He's limited to 10 vehicle trips a day, no more than 2 individuals at a time, and 1 delivery. So the number of deliveries isn't stated in the type 1 ordinance. I think it's the board's permission to set that. But I did, when I read this, I found it very interesting that when that application was made and that approval was given, someone decided that there was only 1 additional delivery was appropriate to preserve the quality and character of the neighborhood. So he's allowed 11. Again, is it 12? Is it 10? Is it 16? But clearly in that decision, it was limited to just 1 additional vehicle trip. So I think that's our concern related to the volume of traffic in and out during this time period. I mean, I also submitted comments to say, I don't know that pulling a business license changes the application that was denied 2 years ago because it didn't meet the definition of a home-based business. And that's not about the steers. It's sort of about like, can everybody in my neighborhood pull a business license and hire a contractor and open a business? So I do think that question does still need to be answered primarily. So those are our concerns. I guess if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them, but otherwise, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate your input. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in opposition of this application? And we do recognize, I would like to recognize at this time, we did receive written, looks like from you, Doug, from an email, and then also a letter, roughly 3 pages, signed by 3 different neighbors as well. Any other discussion or any other, anybody who would like to speak in opposition? I'm not seeing anybody. So at this time, I will close the public hearing and go to comments and questions from our board members. Or look for a motion.
I'd like to make a comment. I think all of us as board members and as home owners and living in neighborhoods always feel compassion with people that feel the disturbance of a home business. And so I think everybody feels feels the pain and anguish of people who always complain or who will complain about something like this, because we probably would be feeling that way ourselves. But I think one of the best parts of this application is that it's so limited to, it's not a year-round activity. It's going to be limited to basically 10 afternoons. And the owners have gone, to my mind, they've listened very carefully and have tried very hard to comply with all of the concerns that were raised the last time. And with it being limited to only 10 afternoons a year now, I think, and their willingness to really abide by the rules and try to maintain a minimum presence of traffic, I think they've gone a great distance on this, and I'm in support of their application. Thank you.
Yes, I think from the last time that we looked at this, there was a lot of thought put into what could help make this work. And that's what we see in the application today. So I like the direction this is going, and would also like to support this type of thing. There are a few things, just wanting to make sure that somebody is talking to the parents as they're coming in to the school and leaving the school, to make sure that they're on the driveway and that we minimize any type of disruption in the neighborhood. And there's something else, but I can't think of what that is right now. But and also just continuing to work with the neighborhood to understand what this means and how it could hopefully benefit everybody involved. That's what I would like to see out of it.
I think I'm going to take my opportunity here to provide a little bit of my own feedback here. Something that was brought up was that the very first line in the ordinance talks about the intent of the section, protecting residential areas from significant impacts. The very next line also states, and we discussed this actually in amongst ourselves when reviewing these applications. The very next line says the intent of this section is also to allow and encourage residents to pursue greater business and financial independence and resources through the creation of home occupations and home-based businesses. And I think it's important to reflect upon that it is a balance where I don't think one weighs more than the other. There are two there that we're trying to balance and protect. And me personally, I looked at this application now being the second time that we've reviewed it. I was on the board the first time when this came before us. This is, to me, substantially different than the first one, and it appears to listen. Again, something I asked the applicant during before is that this is limited to 2021. So this is a great trial period. Lord willing, we don't have any delays with the school year, and we are all able to congregate as allowed in June. You know, given our current health conditions with the pandemic. But all that aside, I don't know. At the risk of telegraphing here, this is something I could get behind.
That was the other point that I want to make, that we're very specific on the dates that we're approving for this year. Even so, if there's any change to that, they would have to be go through the approval process again.
And we could hear a whole new host of coming back again next year. We could hear a whole lot more things in support and or in opposition to see how things work. So it'd be a good opportunity to tweak things. And I think there was a significant tweak here from the previous application. Anybody else with comments? Then I would really look for a motion, please.
I would like to make a motion that we support this application for the Sears Swim School.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. David, do you want to walk us through our findings of fact?
Sure.
Just for clarification, the motion to support, we need motion to approve.
Correct. Supporting the motion to approve.
All right, thank you.
The home business is clearly incidental and secondary to the primary residence of the dwelling. It's mainly a home that they're using their swimming pool for some swim lessons. The home business is operated and the person's residing in the dwelling, and they will have the one instructor, I guess. There's no exterior alterations to the building. There will be no noise outside of noise, vibration, smoke, or dust generated by this business outside of some normal recreational activity. It will not create any interference for television transmission or anything like that. There will be nothing for sold as a way of merchandise for the business. And it will not, by authorizing this, we don't expect it to be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the neighborhood. There will be no sign in the building, or no sign of the business that will be put up. The home will need to comply with the housing inspection, section 14.4.32. This will be the only business and very specific times that this business will be operated at during that 2 weeks in June. The home business meets will not exceed 50% of the floor space, and there will be no customers permitted on site between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. There will be no deliveries to this business, and mostly the business will be conducted in the rear and side of the yard in the enclosed fence in the pool area.
David,
yes,
maybe we would propose additional conditions, just that the owner will arrange and pay for any housing code inspections and correct any deficiencies that may come up with that, and then a verification of the fence. Is it adequate? And that it will be maintained.
Okay.
There's one other condition also, that the home business shall only be operated on the dates and times submitted in the application and approved by the board.
Yes, thank you. I know we repeated it, but as a finding of fact, I think it needed to be restated. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions or comments from our boards as we've gone through this?
The question is if Vince has got everything he needs.
That was going to be my next question, John.
Yeah, I do. The dates are in the application. I have June 14 through 18, 2021, 4 to 7 p.m. June 21 through 25, 2021, 4 to 7 p.m. And so very specific dates and times. Was there any other condition for the number of trips? That's one thing I didn't hear.
I did not hear one.
It would be limited to no more than 6 in the application. Are we looking at trips, or are we looking at the people that are involved in a swim lesson?
Well, I heard different things during the questioning, so I want to make sure. I heard there would be every effort to keep people, if they're dropping someone off, they're staying there, they're not dropping off, going and getting coffee and coming back, is what I heard. If that's a condition, I think it needs to be stated in the findings, but I want to make sure I'm hearing it correctly.
David, I'm not sure if I would propose such a thing. I think we limit it to the number of students, and this is your, I'm supporting you, so this is just input, that we probably don't go down that avenue, and we limit it to the number of people, as stated, 6. And because we're only approving this year, I think it would be it's kind of like a trial thing, that the people running the show are doing everything they can for this next year to prove to everybody involved that they can make it work and work for everybody in the neighborhood. Again, I'm supporting you, but it's my opinion on how we might handle that.
Yeah, I think it's 6 people, and I don't know, can we, I think that Sears have said that they're going to encourage the people to stay there during that time. Can we make that a condition? I'm not sure that we can do that, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure.
I think it's always possible, but I don't think we could accurately put something on it. And someone's out there with a clicker clicking cars go by, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't feel it's something that you could quantify, in my opinion.
Yeah, so it would be encourage the parents to stay for the swim lessons, and then of course, and keep the no more than 6 for the students per lesson.
Right, that's what we are approving, I believe.
And then I have all the information I need. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Vincent.
Anybody else have any comments before we take a vote?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
just one observation, since I'm not a voting member, but there was one observation. I heard Tricia say it 2 or 3 times, that as the application is, so is the rules and regulations. There's one thing that's not been addressed, and that's the last sentence in the proposed dates of the swim lessons. And that is just in case of inclement weather, that would be held on a Saturday morning. That has not been addressed. That part of your condition to allow that to happen.
I would support that if David supported that.
I would think we would support the rain date if needed.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think that's, we did include that in spirit.
Yeah, it is. In spirit, it was the home business shall only be operated on the dates and times submitted in the application, and those the Saturdays are listed in that application.
Yeah.
But you were talking very specifically, and just so that there wasn't any question coming, if it had to come, just nice to get it on the books.
It is.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much for that clarification. All right, I think we're ready to take a vote unless there's any other comments, questions? Not seeing any. Let's go ahead with a vote.
Okay, so the motion is to approve Barr,
Yes.
Van Antwerp,
Yes.
Buzick,
Yes.
Bedard,
Yes.
Isaki,
Yes.
and Sorick.
Yes.
All right, motion to approve passes.
I would like to come, I live in the Heights, so I would like to come down, but at the risk of making another vehicle trip, I'll just have to walk down and take a look at it.
Take your
Okay.
bike. Take your bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
you bet.
welcome you.
Yeah, you bet, for sure.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our next item, please.
Right, so the next application is for 125 West 21st Street, application number 21.07Z. Anne Grant is requesting a special exception to operate a group daycare from her home at 125 West 21st Street. She currently has a state license for up to 6 children and would like permission for up to 12 children. The Board of Appeals can approve this request if certain conditions are met. 39-211.
All righty, thank you. And do we have somebody representing this application here with us?
Yes, can you hear
Go
me?
ahead, Zoom user. Please
Can you?
state your name, address, and where you're calling in from, please.
Anne Grant. You can hear me? They can hear me?
They can hear you. Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you. Yes, go ahead, Ann.
I am at 125 West 21st Street in Holland, south side of Holland.
Thank you.
Yes.
So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and walk us through your application, please.
Okay, so my name of my daycare is Auntie Anne's Daycare, and I have been doing daycare for 25 years. And I would like to expand my current family daycare into a group daycare to accommodate 2 of my current families. One of my families has a second child that they have in a daycare center waiting for me to get an opening. And I have another family that is expecting their second child in a few weeks. And I don't know why I didn't think of going group before, but somebody has suggested it to me. So I thought, well, I'd check it out. So I'm asking permission to be able to have up to 12, but not necessarily that many. But for now, I only want to have the 2 extra children to help accommodate the families that I have.
So you're looking for really just 8 at the moment? You have 6 now?
8 at the moment, but I don't want to close the door that maybe down the line I could help, other families that need daycare. I get quite a few calls that I have to turn down. But it has to fit into it has to be a right fit. And I do have an assistant caregiver, and I do provide transportation to schools. So when I'm gone, there can only be 6 children at the home because I only have 1 helper. So right now I have 2 children that are in school full time, and I take them to school. So when I leave, my assistant caregiver only has 4 children here. So that's why I would just add the 2 other little ones for now. But like if I'm home during the summer and my assistant is with me, then we could have more. But I don't intend to always have 12 children is what I'm saying.
What are the ages that you have currently?
Okay, so my youngest that I have now is 2.5. And then the oldest, I have 2 twins that are 8 years old. And then I have 2 3-year-olds and a 5-year-old. 2.5, 3, 3, 5, and 8, and 8.
And then one other question that I had.
Yes.
How long have you said you've been doing this for 25 years. How long have you been operating Auntie Anne's at 125 West 21st Street?
25 years.
All 25 years, right? There.
Yeah, I've been licensed this is year 25.
At that location,
At this location, yep.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
All right, I'm out of questions. No, I'm going to turn it over to our board.
Okay, sounds good.
Any other questions from our board? Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I have a question for Ms. Grant. Have you registered the address with the 911 as required by the Act 116?
Yes, I have.
Okay. In the play area that you have provided outside, is there any sharp gravel, glass, or cinders? in that
There's
area?
not.
Okay.
Nope.
Has the property been inspected for compliance with the property maintenance code?
No, not yet. I was waiting to see tonight if I'm approved, then I will get that scheduled.
Okay. Do you think this will change the essential character of the surrounding residential area?
I do not. Just because mainly the main reason is they're the same families. We're just adding children to the same families. So it's the same amount of people coming in. Plus I have staggered drop off and pickup times. Not everybody drops off at the same time and picks up at the same time. So I've never had any problem with it in the past.
Okay. And you don't think that this will impede the health, safety, or welfare of the surrounding area?
I do not.
Okay.
No, I do not.
Okay, that's the only other questions I have.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Nope.
And shaking heads. So, Ann, thank you very much for going through your application with us. We appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to take the opportunity to open a public hearing and ask anybody who wishes to speak in support of this application to go ahead and raise hand virtually or physically. Not seeing anybody. Anybody who wishes to speak in opposition? Again, not seeing anybody, so I will now close the public hearing and see if there's any other questions from our board. Otherwise, we can just go ahead and move into a motion.
Question for our attorney.
Oh.
Can we approve this based on their approval of the property maintenance code?
I think you can condition your approval on that inspection being secured.
Okay, great, thank you.
And just for the record as well, we have no feedback from any neighbors at this time, right?
We received no communication in support or opposition of this application.
Thank you.
All right, if somebody would like to go ahead and make a motion.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this special exception for the group daycare.
Support.
We have a motion, we have support. And now I'd ask Mark if you wouldn't mind going through our findings of fact, please.
Sure. The applicant has registered their address with the 911 as required by Act 116. There are 5,000 square foot of lot area and at least 1,000 square foot of outdoor play area per child as required. 100 square foot per child. Yes. There is the play area is free of sharp gravel, glass, and cinders. The access driveway is not joint or shared. The property has been inspected. I'm sorry, it has not been inspected, but we should make a condition that this has to be done before they receive their approval for the property maintenance code. The daycare will not change the essential character of the surrounding residential area. or will not be a nuisance to the neighborhood with additional noise, congestion, or density. And the final one is it will not impair the health, safety, or welfare of the residential areas nearby.
Are there any conditions, Mark?
Yeah, the condition is basically the one that I mentioned, that the owner has to be approved for, has to be inspected. Their property has to be inspected with the property maintenance and be in compliance with the property maintenance code before they can receive the approval.
I think they have to arrange and pay for a housing code inspection. It's them that has to do it. Is that right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
And that they have to fix any and all deficiencies that are noted?
Correct.
All right. And are we all set with that? Vince, you got enough?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, clarifications? Let's go forward with a vote, please.
Right, the motion is to approve Baisaki,
Yes.
Uzak,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Bedard,
Yes.
Van Antwerp,
Yes.
and Sorick.
Yes.
Motion to approve passes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And the next item on our agenda would be the approval of the minute or two that were taken at the January 28th meeting. Can we get a motion on that?
I move we approve the minutes.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The minutes are approved. And our next meeting date is Thursday, March 25th, 2021. Hopefully in person.
We have one application so far.
We already have an application so far, so very likely we will be meeting in some fashion. Okay,
Good stuff.
looking for one more motion.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Support.
We have motion and support. All in favor again, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none. I think we move forward with adjournment. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for your patience getting through this. And I think we can sign off and have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.